got some really exciting and really great things to discuss today on the Packers Report. I'm going to give you a couple reasons why you Packers fans should be really, really excited about the next season. Up first, we're going to talk about Jordan Love because he got some major love from some NFL reporters. And I'm not talking major love as in the fact he got married a week and a half ago. No. This is going to be about his 2026 season. And then on the back half, we have yet another NFL insider urging the Green Bay Packers to trade for T.J. Watt. We'll break down everything they had to say, talk a little bit about that trade, and then some. For that, though, we got a sub-battle going on with Bears now. We've, made it a little bit closer than the last time we checked in. We're still behind, though. I don't know what's going on with that. Let's get in front. I'm tired of losing this one. If you hate the Bears, if you love the Packers, if you love daily content, we only talk about Green Bay, and we do it every single day right here on the Packers Report. Lock us in. It's free to do. Hit that subscribe button. Before we hear from this NFL reporter, I'm just going to go out there and say, like I've said many times before over the last couple of months, I think Jordan Love is going to have a really, really special season in 2025, okay? I got a lot of confidence in what he's going to be able to do with this newfound offense. I know there's not much new about it. Same offensive coordinator, same running backs, most of the same offensive line, but I think Matthew Golden's going to be really, really big in his development because, yes, I think he's still developing as a starting quarterback. Well, NFL reporter Jordan Wilson agrees with me, and he believes one of his bold takes was that Love will firmly enter the conversation for NFL MVP. Here's what Jordan had to say on Jordan. The discourse about Love's so-called regression in 2024 seems overblown. The 26-year-old had a less productive season than he did as a first-time starter in 2023, but he also sprained his left MCL in the season opener. Continued to face limitations because of the injury even once he returned. All told, Love still threw for 3,300 yards, 25 scores, and 15 starts for the Packers, while improving his QBR from 62.1 in 2023 to a whopping 69.3 in 2024. And I could not agree more, especially from that opening statement, right? I think he's hit it right on the head when he said his regression is a little bit overblown. Finally, somebody says that. Finally, somebody isn't just looking at the stats and saying, he was better this year, he was worse this year. He had a really big regression. People seem to forget. Week 1, MCL sprain against the Eagles. Week 8, groin strain against the Jacksonville Jaguars, then not to mention the elbow injury in Week 17 right before the playoffs. Guys, let's be real about this. No, he wasn't as good as he was in 2023, but he also wasn't healthy for the entirety of the year. Now, the interesting thing that Wilson didn't even mention, that I think is almost even a bigger deal, was all the drops. Didn't say anything about the fact that this wide receiver core had more drops than any other wide receiver core in the National Football League. Look at these drop rates. Romeo Doubs, 9.7%. Dontavian Wicks and Jaden Reed, both in the double digits with 11.8 and 12%. All three of those guys combined to 25 drops. That's not good enough. That's not doing your quarterback any favors. And look at this stat. This one's hilarious. In retrospect, it's not hilarious at the time, wasn't hilarious at the time, but most yards lost to drop. Number 1, tied for first with Baker Mayfield, 282 yards lost. Let's keep talking about this, right? Because that's not the only stat that they rank number 1 in. They also rank number 1 in highest percent of receiver error, causing incompletions. Number 1, Green Bay Packers, 2 New York Jets, 3 Colts, 4 Giants, 5 Browns. It is not done, ladies and gentlemen, because Jordan Love's drop rate was 7.1. Jared Goff's was 5.1. League average was 4.7. He was almost double the league average. And then look at the Super Bowl winning Jalen Hurts, 1.8%. Jalen Hurts has guys like A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, who help him be a better quarterback. And there wasn't a ton of that with this wide receiver core in 2024. So yeah, he took a little bit of a step back. But still, 3,300 yards, 25 touchdowns, 63% completion percentage, and a whole lot of wins to go on to that. Yeah, it wasn't a step forward, but it felt almost like a lateral step given his help in the wide receiver room and his injury status for pretty much all of 2024. So those who are writing off Jordan Love, I really hope that you put your return address in the top left of that envelope. I know that probably shocks you that somebody my age knows exactly where to put a return address on an envelope. Yes, I've sent mail before, and I hope you know it too, because I'll be writing to you once Jordan Love has an awesome 2025 season. Up next, we got another TJ Watt trade to talk about. Same trade, different person talking about it. Make sure you stay tuned, have us locked in, because this one, I don't know, it might be a little bit more convincing than even some of the other ones we've talked about so far on the channel. For that, though, let's go back to Jordan Love. Predict his stat line in 2025 for me in the comment section down below. I want completion percentage, yards, and touchdowns. Do your best, get the crystal balls out, and let me know in the comment section. It is now time to talk yet again about a trade for an edge rusher. Can you tell? I think this is something that the Green Bay Packers need. And there's a reason that Green Bay is always the one being discussed, because I'm not the only one who thinks that. This time, Cody Benjamin of CBS Sports thinks it too. It's kind of a shame that Watt's older brother, JJ, never got to suit up for his home state at the NFL level. Perhaps TJ can correct that. The Packers aren't necessarily in dire need of a pass rusher, with Rashawn Gary headlining their group. Both Lucas Van Ness coming along slowly, why would they turn down a perennial All-Pro as they look to make a leap as a playoff contender? And I totally agree with Cody. I wouldn't call it a dire need either, because it's not. But just because it's not a dire need doesn't mean that it's not a need in general. Just because they won't lose every single game if it doesn't get fixed doesn't mean that their defensive line wouldn't be a whole lot better if TJ Watt was with that group as well. Just because it's not dire doesn't mean it's not necessary. Doesn't mean it wouldn't help. Doesn't mean it wouldn't possibly be the thing that pushes this team from Super Bowl contenders to a Super Bowl winner, or a playoff contender to a Super Bowl contender. They need to take a next jump. They believe that with the addition of Matthew Gold in the wide receiver room, that's going to help. But you still look at this defensive line. It looks very similar to the way it did last year. I get it, Barron Sorrell's new. Colin Oliver's new as well. We've got a lot of hope for those two guys. But are we really thinking that on the defensive side of the ball, Barron Sorrell and Colin Oliver are going to be the guys that push this group over the top? We've talked about this a lot. I know. I get it. But if they can do it, then do it. Be aggressive. Be bold. Make a move. Change something. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. So if nothing is changing about this defense, if nothing is changing about this team, if nothing is changing about this defensive line, if you're not adding better players to it, then how can we expect anything different, okay? And I want to talk about the franchise quarterbacks that this franchise has been so lucky to have. Each one of them, at one point or another, played with a defensive star. Bart Starr played with 5 Hall of Famers on the defensive side of the football. Brett Favre was lucky enough to play with Reggie White, big part of that Super Bowl. Aaron Rodgers played with Clay Matthews, played with Charles Woodson at the end of his career. It begs the question here, are there any stars on this Packers roster? I know who a star is. It's TJ Watt, right? I mean, look at these numbers. These are gaudy. That's the way I would describe them. 22.5 sacks in 2021, 19 in 2023, 11.5 last year, and he was injured for half of it, but played through that injury. And that injury, it impacted this team in a big way, the Pittsburgh Steelers. When he was off the field, they were far worse in every single statistic defensively, and even their offense played worse. And so I know at this point, you might be thinking it the same way as I am. Is there a defensive star on this roster? Maybe it's Xavier McKinney. I actually am really, really excited about Xavier McKinney. He had a wonderful year last year. I've got a lot of hope for him. But outside of him, who's the guy on this team that jumps off the page? Because I don't know if there is. And I'm okay with giving up the draft capital. Because you're at a place with Green Bay, we saw it in 2023. We didn't necessarily see it as much in 2024, being one and done in the playoffs. But we saw it in 2023. This team can win big games. Now they just need some bigger players to push them over that hurdle and to make it a little bit more consistent. We're going to get out of here, but thanks so much for joining us today. We do this thing every single day. I tweet about the Packers every day. I don't post about them as much on Instagram, more family dog, but if you want to see my dog Applesauce or my wife Kennedy, you can give me a follow on there as well. Make sure you got to subscribe right here at the Packers Report, and we'll see you next time.